Exercise 26. Track changes in a document, part of the Word 2007 Core Preparation Guide, brought to you by Shiftkey Solutions. In this exercise, we're going to be talking about the track changes features. Now, tracking changes is all about collaboration. Here I have a file, Patient Care Handbook document, opened up. And the scenario is that this is a document that a number of people are collaborating on in creating. So as each person makes a change or a comment, it's tracked for others to see those changes or comments. Step 1 tells us to open this document. Step 2 tells us to go to our Review tab, and in the Tracking group we want to make sure that the Final Show markup is being displayed in the Display for Review window. So if I click this drop down, I can see that I have 4 choices. I can see what the document looks like originally. I can see what the original showing markups are, or the original changes, and then a final view of the document and what the final markups are. And that's what these are here. These are what we're looking at right now. So let's look at what the document looked like originally. So I click this. This is the original document. If I come back and see what the first version of changes are, I can see that there was a word inserted here, center. And if I cursor over it, I can see who made that suggestion. It was James. And there's a comment here. And here's some changes to be made by Mary Lou. So this is what the first version of changes look like. Now if I look at what the final looks like, I can see that that word center had been added, okay, and so on. If I come back and go back to the view where we're just at, final showing markup, I can see that that change was made, and here's some additional changes to be made. Next, step 3 tells us to go to our tracking group and click our balloons drop down, and I can see that the show revisions in balloons is selected, and that's what these are. These are the revisions inside of a balloon. Now if I choose show all revisions in line, it'll remove that show markup task pane, and everything's in line now. So I would have to cursor over each one of these to see who is make these changes. And you'll also notice that there's a short initials right here, JJ1, which indicates James Jameson's made this comment. And then down here I have to cursor over to see who made that change. And down here's a comment made by ML. If I cursor over it, it's going to tell me Mary Lou made that comment on this section, and so on. So let's go back to the top here. Let's come back to our balloons, and then we have show only comments and formatting in balloons. So if I click this, here's the comments and any formatting that has occurred on the final show, on the final document. But let's come back to our balloons and choose show revisions in balloons again. So now I can see all my editing or changes. Step 4 tells us to make sure that the track changes is selected, so that if it's not selected and I go through this document and I make changes, it won't be recorded. I want to make sure that it's on, indicated by a yellow hue showing that it's selected and it's on. Next, we want to make sure that our name and initials is associated with comments or changes that we make. So we're going to come to our tracking group and click track changes. And then down here where it says change user name, I'll click this and it opens up my word options dialog box here. And then right down here is where I can type in my name, my full name, and then my initials. Well, I'm going to leave it like this, but for you, you would click in here and type in your full name and then your initials down here and then click OK. Now when I make a change or comment, it'll appear over here with my initials right next to it, and then in the screen tip it'll show my full name. And let's see what that looks like. So step 8 of exercise 26 tells us to select this first paragraph. So I'm going to select this paragraph, and I want to modify this by making it bold, and then I also want to center align it and change the font size to 16. Having done that, you'll notice that I have my changes have been made here. Cursor over these, it'll show my full name as to when I created it and what formatting I made to it. Step 9 tells us to find the paragraph that begins with "at the Saginaw," which is right here. And I want to place my insertion point just to the right of the word "by." So here in this second sentence where it says "by federal laws," I'm going to place my insertion point there just after the word "by," and I'm going to press my space bar and type in "state and." So now when I cursor over this change, it's again going to show my name and the date in which it was created. Now let's change the track changes options. In order to do that, we're going to come to our tracking group, click our track changes, and then here where it says change tracking options, I'm going to click this. It'll open up my dialog box. Now here is where I can make many choices, many modifications or customizations to the way in which insertions appear on my document, among other things, comments and so on. Step 11 tells us here in the markup section, we're going to click insertions drop down, and I'll find insertions here. Right now it has a double underline. So if I move this off to the side, I can see indeed every insertion is identified with a double underline. Well, I can change that. I'm going to click the drop down arrow here, and instead of having my insertions as a double underline, I'm going to change this to italic. And I could go so far as to change the color as well and so on, but I'm going to leave it just like this so that it's italic. Then I'm going to click OK, and then it changes all of my insertions from a double underline to italic. Now I want to save this document with my name in the document. So I'm going to go to my Office button, go to Save As, and then click Word Document. I'm going to go to my student data files, and then open up my student files folder, and this is where I save all my work. I'm going to put my name at the end of this file name. This way, when I'm searching for this document later, I'll remember what the name of this document is, and then my name appears within the file name for convenience sake. So I'm going to click Save, and then at a glance I can verify that the name was saved correctly with my name here in the title bar. There's the file name. That was easy. Well, that concludes exercise 26, track changes in a document. Thanks for joining me. Next, we'll be talking about exercise 27, working with bookmarks.